Hello and welcome to another First Impressions video brought to you by MMO Play. Today we're taking a look at an upcoming game called the Cold War Era. The game's currently in beta. It's basically a cross between Risk and a real-time strategy. So the mechanics of this game actually take a little bit of work to get to. This is actually one of the first games I've read the manual for in a long time. You can see it is on a world map. It reminds you a lot of Risk with the different countries you can take and all that. I'm starting in North America. It's basically U.S. versus the USSR. There's a couple of things to pay attention to. There's news. You need to watch basically kind of your happiness, your influence in the zone, how many agents you have, your military in the zone. There's several different ways to take a place. But right now, early on, I'm just kind of focusing on looking in here. Right now I'm buying agents. I'm also just trying to make everyone happy and trying to spread my influence a little bit. I'm going to go to these gray countries in Central South America and kind of see if I can get them to be happy with me. Looks to start with the US, Canada, France, England, maybe a couple other parts of Europe, and I'm going to spread out of there. Whereas Russia is going to start with some of the former USSR countries and then kind of spread out from there. They actually do not start with China, surprisingly enough, too. And you can see you can get news updates. This is a real-time game. There's no, well, I don't think there's any pausing. I couldn't find any. But there's multiple ways to take a country. There is actually kind of a tech tree. It is a very, I would guess I'd call it minimalistic approach for now. Just looking at the news articles. Also, there's things you can do like riding and setting parades, and you can do those about every 3 months in-game, however long it takes. So let's kind of fast forward a little bit and look at some of the tech trees. And here we go, playing against an AI right now. You can play 1 versus 1 against multiplayer. You can queue up for matches. So you bring up the tech tree. If you have the money and you've earned enough research, you can go ahead and just unlock this. Basically, you're working towards space programs. So there's 2 types of research. You can either research on the horizontal tier, which kind of unlocks new possibilities, or you can go up, which is the actual like completing program missions. So over time, things like the Apollo missions, going to the moon and all that, those will be going up, whereas researching newer and newer technology to get more later missions goes right. The first person to complete a mission or complete a tech tree gets an extra bonus, but it also costs more. There'll be a little icon on the mat on the thing to say when the computer has researched it, or your enemy. And as you research new missions, you get influence bonuses, which will help you for taking countries and all that fun stuff. It looks like I have pretty much maxed it out. You do have to spend money, and you earn gold in-game over time. You can also see some of your statistics as you go. It does have an RTS feel, but it also kind of has a turn-based feel too. So it kind of balances the best of both worlds, I guess, in that case. Maybe a bit of a Sins of a Solar Empire or Star Drive, where it is real-time, but also kind of turn-based at the same time. As for the stats on the countries, you'll have, towards the left on the bottom, you'll have support is like the happy face. The opposition is below that. Of course, we're going to have to 100. And then how much money you have left over. You have options. You can spread influence to a country, add military, or add agents. And agents can be used to, looks like I'm researching a little more, can be used to incite riots and just cause a headache for your opponents. Agents do cost money, and you can see you have to deal with the opponent's agents too. Like right now in that country I have 1 and he has 5, so I'm not going to get too much accomplished there. In order to install a new government in a country, there are 2 ideas. You can use politics or revolution. Or to launch a revolution, the country must be controlled by opponent and have a government opposition rating of at least 80. So I must have really hacked them off before I can make that work. So if the country only has an opposition of 30, keep inciting them riots. After a little while, you'll make them angry, and maybe they'll consider joining you. The other option is politics. The government opposition has to be 80, or my influence has to be 80. If my influence is 80, then I can go ahead and just kind of convince them to join me. So I can add extra influence, which was the top ad. So that's basically 2 ways to add to kind of take control of the country. You're trying to spread all over the world, kind of like Risk, and eventually maybe the Americans can defeat the evil Reds. No. But eventually we can push back the USSR a lot like Risk. That's why I said it. It reminds me of if Risk was a real-time strategy, although it's a lot more about... It's a lot less, I guess, action-packed than Risk, where you don't have units going around fighting each other necessarily. It's more about influence and inciting riots, so a little more political, a little less fighty. Like the game, check it out. It is coming out soon. It's called the Cold War Era. Maybe search TCWE. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to more. See you guys next time. I'm gonna rock out to the music. Bye.